Question. Do ascended masters communicate through synchronicities, like angel numbers? I have many and see my birthday number as one. Well, I've encountered this type of question throughout the years that I've been doing my spiritual work, and even before that, even going back to the 1990s. I remember, I think it was in the beginning of the 1990s, maybe late 80s, that a lot of spiritual people were focused on this 1111. When you saw 1111 on the clock, they read some significance into this. And I'm not trying to put down people's fascination with these kind of things. But I do think it's something that belongs at kind of the beginning stages of the spiritual path. The way I see it is that many of us grew up without any spiritual knowledge. We suddenly find some spiritual movement or the spiritual path. We realize there's books that talk about spirituality that's beyond what we were told in Sunday school. And we kind of throw ourselves at this. We go through this exploratory phase where we study everything that's out there. I mean, I've seen people who study more than one spiritual teaching. They study numerology, astrology, channelings, all kinds of things. You know, they throw themselves at it. UFOs, conspiracy theories, ancient civilizations, all kinds of things that people study. And this is what I call the exploratory phase, where you need to explore the various things that are out there before you gradually, intuitively sense, this is what is for me. This is what I want to focus on. And so I think this fascination with numbers is the same thing, you know. You have to be honest and say that why did people in the late 80s, 90s become fascinated with the numbers 1111? Well, could it have something to do with the fact that digital clocks became so common that people saw it? Because if you have an analog clock with two hands on it, you're not suddenly seeing, oh, it's 1111. It's only a digital clock that gives people this fascination with numbers. And so the other thing I think that needs to come into it here is that we know that the human brain is a very complex creation. And it has a programmed tendency to look for patterns. You have these pictures that are seemingly random dots. But if you look at it from a certain angle, you suddenly see a dolphin or some other form. And many other, you know, things like that. And so it's simply that the human brain is programmed to look for numbers. I mean, patterns and connections. And, you know, spiritual people then become fascinated with certain things, and then they start spreading out there like rings in the water, and people are talking about it, and all of a sudden everybody is seeing these numbers. And, you know, I don't have a problem with people reading whatever meaning is meaningful to them into it. But the question here is specifically, do ascended masters communicate through synchronicities like numbers? And I think the answer really is no, not really. The ascended masters are trying to communicate through our intuition. And I'm not saying that, you know, you couldn't have this trigger an intuitive insight, but my sense is very clear that the ascended masters are not deliberately communicating this way. They have other ways of doing it. I've talked about in a video I just did about describing an interaction with an ascended master, how they can give us sudden intuitive insights where we understand something, or we get a certain direction to find something, or they give us insights about our psychology, or we just experience the presence of an ascended master. And that's the main ways they communicate at the personal level. At a higher level, they communicate through people like me who've been trained to be messengers for the ascended masters and give these dictations. But numbers, I think, is just something that isn't coming from the ascended level.